of Allah, who fears Allah and has constant consciousness of God, and is worried about whether God is happy with him or not. If you have that, Allah opens doors for you. He makes exits for you from your problems, for your troubles. And He provides sustenance for you in ways and from places that you never expected it. It's a promise, right? It's a promise to support us and provide for us. He's provided for us as long as we've lived. And He's guaranteed as long as we are supposed to live, He's going to provide for us. But why then are we worried sometimes about our sustenance? That doesn't mean we don't work, we sit at home and be lazy. No, we have to work for it too. But working is different than worrying about it. Right? We can work for something and not worry about it. And God will provide. The last lesson is God's servants have always had their enemies. And this is from this ikhtisam, this infighting that happened amongst the priests. Right? Think about this. Zakaria, a prophet of Allah, is one of the contestants, like one of the people, and they're debating about whether Zakaria should have rights to take care of Maryam or one of the other priests who's not a prophet. For us, it seems unfathomable that you could even debate the point when you have a prophet of Allah and other people who are just nobodies, to say that they have some sort of legitimate claim over this right and this responsibility as the prophet. It's not like when we see this happening with our own prophet, with Imam Ali alayhi salam, with the other imams, we shouldn't be surprised. It's not a new thing. The Quran shows us that this is a sunnah of people in general. They're, for various reasons, right, they get full of their own power, they get drunk on power, and when they have power, they're even willing to step on the Prophet of Allah. There's this fighting like this. It was reminiscent of a story from Imam Rida's time. Imam Rida alayhi salam, he for quite some time he didn't have a child. And the Banu Hashim, his own family, the Banu Hashim, they were worried. Right? They started to think that maybe he's not really the Imam. There's supposed to be 12 Imams. He doesn't even have a son yet. He's getting quite old. Maybe he's not really the Imam. Maybe we should go somewhere else. Then he finally does have a son, but Imam Jawad, he's very dark. He's dark-skinned, much darker than Imam Rida alayhi salam. And so again, the Banu Hashim start to doubt. There's a hadith in Kitab al-Kafi about this. The Banu Hashim themselves, they start to doubt. They start saying, maybe he's not really his son. He probably just found him somewhere and made him, brought him into his house just to bolster himself, just to make sure he has an heir to carry on the imamah, so that we don't turn away from him. Right? He's probably not his real son. So what they do is, the Banu Hashim again, this isn't like, Bani Umayyah or the Banu Abbas or some other family that had enmity for the family of the Prophet. The Banu Hashim themselves, the Prophet's family, right, they decide that to determine whether Imam Jawad is really Imam Rida's son or not, we're going to call in the Qafa. The Qafa are these people who have the ability to determine whether someone's really related to someone else or not, whether someone's a legitimate child or not. Right? And they do it. It's a haram science. It's a haram kind of field of expertise. Right? But there is a way. There are ways of kind of looking at features and stuff like that. You probably hear of phrenology, people feeling bumps on heads and stuff like that. Right? There might be some true reality to these things, but it's haram to practice them. The Banu Hashim say we're going to call in the Qafa to determine whether Imam Jawad is really the son of Imam Rida alayhi salam. So they do this. Imam Rida says, no way, it's haram, I have no part of this. They insist, they say, this is the only way we'll believe you that this is really your son. And so they set up this whole game. They go into a garden, all the Banu Hashim are gathered, they send Imam Rida, they disguise Imam Rida as a gardener, right, and send him off into one corner. And then they bring in these magicians, these people who have this art, and they say, this is the child, this is the person that we're asking about, Muhammad, right? Tell us who his father is. And so the Qafa, they look around, they look at the boy, they look at all the Banu Hashim and say, you're his uncle, you're his aunt, you're his this and that. They were able to identify everyone and what their relationship is to this boy. They say, no, his father's not here. Then he looks off and he sees the gardener, he says, if anyone's his father, it must be that gardener over there. And so the Qafa, they determine that Imam Rida is actually the father of Imam Jawad. But that's the event that actually happened. But it's baffling to us to think, how could people, especially the Banu Hashim themselves, how could they doubt in the Imam. Right? How could the Bani Israel doubt in Zakaria, treat him like a nobody when he's a prophet of Allah, the father of a prophet? Maryam's the daughter of a prophet of Allah. Right? It's baffling to see how that happens. Right? Just preparation for what's to come with our prophet and his progeny. How people constantly questioned them, debated with them, treated them like nothing, took their rights from them, trampled their rights, killed them in Karbala. It's nothing new that we should be surprised about. Recite salawat, please. Inshallah, I'm going to read to you another story from a little bit before Karbala again. This is a story of a person named Hani ibn Urwa. He was martyred the same day as Muslim ibn Aqil, on the 8th of Dhul Hijjah, Yawm al-Tarwiyah, the day when the Hujjaj kind of set off to go out to Arafat for Hajj. Hani ibn Urwa was the person that Muslim ibn Aqil stayed with after Ibn Ziyad's arrival in Kufa. I'm not sure what to assume that you all know. Generally people do know the story of Karbala. It doesn't hurt to mention some details though. Ibn Ziyad, he's a son of a prostitute. Right? And he was the governor, under Muawiyah, he was made the governor of Basra. Okay, so picture the map of Basra and Kufa. He was the governor of Basra. And his father, Ziyad, had been a tyrant. And he had murdered countless people. People were scared of him, and Ibn Ziyad, they knew he was also like his father, they were scared of him as well. So he had a really tight grasp of, a tight grip over Basra. The governor of Kufa was rather weak. His name is Nu'man ibn Bashir. He was a weak man, and when the Kufans show their interest in Imam Hussein, they start writing these letters to him. Right? They start to agitate within Kufa. Right? Nu'man doesn't really take a strong stance, and he doesn't quiet the rebellion properly. Yazid's spies, they tell him that if you want Kufa, then you better get Nu'man out of here because he's weak and he's gonna crumble, and Hussein is gonna take over Kufa. So what Yazid does, he knows Ibn Ziyad. They're kind of on the books. They're brothers. Right? Muawiyah made him a brother.